Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Black Ops Cold War beta. Today I thought it would be a good time to sit down and give my honest first impressions of the game so far, because with yesterday's update, the level cap was increased to 25, and that's going to be the highest level we can achieve during weekend 1 of the beta. That means that right now we have all the game modes, we have all the guns, all the perks, we have all the score streaks, basically everything that's going to be in weekend 1 is currently available, and over the course of the past 2 days, I have played and streamed 19 hours of Black Ops Cold War, so I think I have a really good feel for the game and everything that's in it currently, so sit back, relax, and enjoy as I go over the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of everything that we've seen so far. Let's kick things off here with the good. The biggest positive to Black Ops Cold War to me so far is the core gameplay itself. Everything from movement to gunplay feels really good, even while in the beta stage. Now, it is worth mentioning that there are some cheese exploits where people can slide and move really quickly. Treyarch is aware of that, and they are going to be fixing that. So once that's out of the way, I feel like the core movement and the core gameplay is fantastic so far here in Black Ops Cold War. I like the gunplay, I like the weapons themselves, I like the movement, and overall, the feel of the game is really good so far. I feel like weapon balance is in a much better place now than it was back during the alpha, but the problem is right now is we have a very limited number of weapons to play with, and the weapons that we do have barely have any attachments on them because it takes forever and a half to actually level them up. I'll discuss weapon leveling more in the bad section of the video, but overall my biggest positive for the beta is the core gameplay design, and since that's an integral part of the overall online experience, I would say that's a good sign going forward. Now, I know this is very subjective, but another aspect of the game that I like is the overall theme, right? Black Ops Cold War has a setting that we have only really explored once in the Call of Duty franchise, and that was about a decade ago, so it's good to see the Black Ops series returning to its roots with this year's game. I would also like to say that the Gunsmith is a massive positive for the game so far. This is such an improvement over the system that we saw back with Modern Warfare. It's simple, it's clear, but at the same time, it's also the most in-depth system that we've ever seen, given the very nature that we can see exactly what each attachment does to our weapon, right down to the millisecond. I think Treyarch really outdid themselves with this system, and that's coming from somebody who, going into the beta, was really hoping for more of a traditional attachment system like the one that we saw back in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. I was never a huge fan of the Gunsmith that we saw in Modern Warfare, but Treyarch took that idea and then made it so much better, and as a result, I'm actually really enjoying it. I think there's a lot of room for customization and tailoring your weapon to your own personal liking, so I think fans are definitely going to have a lot of fun with that this year. And I would also like to point out that one of the positives of the Modern Warfare Gunsmith system was the weapon leveling, right? The weapon leveling system is going to be this extra layer of progression that people seem to really enjoy about Modern Warfare, and that's going to be returning with Black Ops Cold War, so pretty much good things all around when it comes to that. Now, another aspect of the game that I really enjoy, and a lot of you are going to disagree, is the art style. I will admit that Modern Warfare 2019 looked really good. It was downright beautiful at times, but I'm glad that Treyarch did not want to make their game look like Modern Warfare, right? Black Ops Cold War, despite being a newer game, looks a little bit worse graphically, but it has a very unique art style that sets itself apart from Modern Warfare and gives off a Black Ops vibe. The Black Ops games have always been very bright, colorful, and fun games, and that's exactly what we see here with the beta. The game isn't meant to look super realistic or like a milsim or anything like that. It's supposed to be an arcade Call of Duty game with a cool theme, and to that extent, I think they accomplished their goal so far with the beta. Now keep in mind, all this footage is recorded on a day one PlayStation 4, not even a PS4 Pro, an old school day one PlayStation 4, so this is pretty much the worst that the game can actually look right now, and it still looks pretty good, and I'm excited to see where the game is going to go in the future, because when the PC beta comes out next week, I imagine it's going to look fantastic, and I haven't really talked about this much on the channel, but I do plan to go PC full-time this year with Black Ops Cold War, so I'm definitely excited to see what that's going to be like. But yeah, going back to it, overall, I think the game actually looks pretty good, and with features like the FOV slider and the ability to customize our interface, I think that Black Ops Cold War is only going to get better visually as we go forward. Now, unfortunately, that pretty much does it for the good section of this video, which is pretty bad considering that the beta just came out and I've experienced pretty much everything that there is to experience, but that's pretty much it for the good, so let's jump right into what people want to hear most, which is going to be the bad. Kicking things off here, let's talk about the servers. The beta has been out for only 2 days now, but man, these servers have been so inconsistent. I've heard everything from the game running on 10-tick servers, to 20-tick servers, to 24-tick servers, and even 60-tick servers, and I honestly don't know what to believe. I think a big part of the problem with the servers is that for a lot of people, the game has a lot of netcode issues and even hardware issues, causing players to drop frames and stutter around, even when playing at the default field of view. What this causes is a ton of inconsistencies when it comes to gunfights and gameplay. I talk about it all the time on my streams, but it seems like a lot of the gunfights come down to a coin flip, and that is not a good feeling, right? I said earlier that I do like the core gameplay, and I do. I even like the higher health pools, but with how the connections and the servers have been running so far, most of the matches I play, it seems like I'm getting dropped in a few bullets, even though on my screen, I should have definitely got the kill. I've discussed this countless times once again over the past 2 days, but I feel like if Activision is going to keep bragging that Modern Warfare is the best-selling Call of Duty game of all time and it's making more money than any other COD, then they should really be putting that money back into the franchise and giving us good servers for the beta, and especially during the full launch, right? I mean, the servers so far have been really bad. If anything, Call of Duty should be running at 120 Hz servers at this point. Now, I understand we're talking about a beta, and the servers will likely change between now and the full game, but man, does it feel bad to die when you feel like you did everything right, and it's just because the game's publisher didn't want to allow the player base to experience the game on a great connection with great servers. Another bad aspect of the game, I would say, would be the score streak system. I feel like if they tune this properly, this new system could actually be good, but going from the alpha into the beta, they redesigned how your score multiplier works, and it's really causing the high-end score streaks to take forever to get. I think as of right now, it takes like a 15 kill streak to get the attack helicopter, and that's not good whatsoever, considering the attack helicopter is actually horrible. Looking at this footage here, every time somebody in my match gets an attack helicopter, I'm able to destroy it in 5 seconds or less using a default class that everybody has access to, and honestly, even if I didn't destroy the attack helicopter, that thing may be good for like 3 or 4 kills. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen too many of them because typically I blow them up the moment they come into the map. But yeah, even when I call in my attack helicopters, they barely do anything. They're not being destroyed or anything. They're just kind of floating around in the sky, not really doing much. The attack helicopter definitely needs some work. And I honestly believe that the barrel that we have in the game that increases our weapon damage to vehicles needs to be redesigned to only increase damage against actual vehicles like tanks and jeeps. Making it so any gun in the game can melt air support out of the sky feels really bad. The game already has a free SAM turret in the form of a field upgrade, and also has lock-on and free fire launchers, so why is it that guns also have to be insanely good at taking out air support? I feel like one of the things that helped separate Call of Duty from the pack back in the day were the big powerful kill streaks, right? Players were rewarded for doing well with really fun things like the AC-130, the chopper gunner, attack dogs, the gunship, the pavelo, the swarm, so on and so forth, right? We can go back and list all the amazing kill streaks in Call of Duty's history, but the ones that we see here in Black Ops Cold War are insanely weak outside of the fire and forget streaks. I would say that right now, the only streaks really worth running would be UAV and counter UAV, obviously, but on top of that, it's basically just artillery, napalm, and war machine because those streaks can't be shot down. The sentry gun dies to a single grenade or even like 2 melee hits, something like that. The attack helicopter dies in 5 seconds to a default class. I would just say overall the score streaks need a considerable health boost if they're actually going to be viable, or they could take the vehicle damage weapon barrel and redesign it so that it doesn't melt every single score streak in the entire game, because again, I feel like powerful score streaks should be a staple in Call of Duty, not even just Cold War, but every single Call of Duty game, and so far here in the beta, they're all pretty worthless, regardless of the fact that we could continuously work towards them even after we die. Now, another bad aspect of the game, I would say, would be map design. This honestly has me super worried about the future of the game, because right now, we have 4 maps that can be played in 6v6, and all of them seem like they are designed for 12v12. Satellite is still my favorite map in the game, yet at the same time, if we look at all the other maps in Call of Duty's history and try to rank Satellite against them, I would say that Satellite's maybe a 6 out of 10 compared to like good Call of Duty maps and bad Call of Duty maps. I would say it's slightly above average, but it's not an instant classic or anything. It's just basically good, right? The rest of the maps, however, leave a lot to be desired. I would say Miami is way too big. I love the aesthetic, but the map itself is way too big, and honestly, I can't see people half the time. That's definitely a very bad aspect of the game, is visibility is really rough so far. I will admit that Moscow has been growing on me, but it can be a flustercuck at times. And while Cartel can be fun, holy hell, what were they thinking with those bushes being taller than your character? I'm basically, whenever I'm playing that map, I'm shooting at bushes. I'll hear footsteps coming or I'll see gunshots on the minimap, and I'm basically just shooting in the bushes, hoping they actually kill somebody. The map itself has potential, it really does. I think Cartel does have a good design, but the bushes everywhere, they need to redesign that entirely or just straight up trim them down by a foot or so. Something has to happen there because the map itself can be good, but so far it's actually pretty frustrating. I would say that overall, the maps that we see so far in Black Ops Cold War are a solid 4, maybe 5 out of 10 as a whole. Going into the beta, I was saying that I really hope that we have a number of original maps in this year's game as compared to a bunch of remakes like we saw with Black Ops 4, but now I'm singing a different tune, man. I have flip-flopped completely. I'm at the point now where I'm hoping that Black Ops Cold War is just filled to the brim with map remakes from World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2 because we already know those maps are good. The new maps, the original maps that we've seen so far with the beta, are not very great, and I'm starting to wonder, looking back at Modern Warfare 2019, looking at the original maps that we saw in Black Ops 4, now looking at the original maps that we see here with Black Ops Cold War, I'm honestly starting to wonder if Call of Duty developers are actually capable of making amazing maps again. Right? If we go back in Call of Duty's history, it seemed like every single game would have like 4 or 5 bangers. But nowadays, it's like we may have 1 or 2, maybe. And so far in the beta, I don't think any of them are going to be an instant classic or anything like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things play out. But it definitely feels like most of the maps in Black Ops Cold War so far are designed to accommodate 6v6 and 12v12. And as a result of that, if you just enjoy standard 6v6 gameplay, then the maps are just going to feel really bad. It feels like a situation where when you die, you have to run 7 to 10 seconds just to get back into the action, and I don't think that's something that a lot of players are hoping to see within traditional Call of Duty game modes. Now, with the maps out of the way, it's time to discuss the downright ugly of Black Ops Cold War and address the elephant in the room, which of course is skill-based matchmaking. Holy hell, guys, this beta has been the sweatiest Call of Duty experience that I have ever had. I didn't play a whole lot of Modern Warfare, so admittedly, I did not experience the extent of the skill-based matchmaking system within that game, but what we see here within Cold War must be just as bad, if not worse. Not only are we struggling with connectivity and the server refresh rate, but everybody in every lobby is insanely sweaty. My buddy Nick referred to Cold War as the year of the frog, because every person that plays this game seems to be snorting G Fuel and jumping around every corner. Never have I ever had to come up with so many insults on the fly while streaming to make fun of the people that I'm playing against, because everybody is insanely sweaty in a beta of all things. I can't imagine what the full game is actually going to be like. What's also crazy is you can almost see the skill-based matchmaking system play out by looking at your last 10 games and then checking out your kill-death ratio. It's always like a roller coaster, at least for me and the people I play with and the people I've been seeing online. It kind of is like a situation where you do okay, you do a bit better, you do great, and then the very next match it goes all the way down and you're doing way worse than usual. From there, you build back up, you build back up, you build back up, then boom, right back down to the bottom you go with a very horrible match. This is then further compounded by the fact that Treyarch has implemented the same matchmaking system from Modern Warfare that breaks up lobbies after every single game. And some people have been asking about this. They say, well, skill-based matchmaking, I don't really notice that too much, but I really hate the fact that they break up the lobby after every single match. Well, the reason why they do that is because of skill-based matchmaking. What happens is after every match, the game will then reevaluate your quote-unquote skill rating and then match you with players in an even lobby, and that is no fun whatsoever. I could rant and rave about this all day and night, and I pretty much have for the past couple of days on stream, but in short, this system sucks, it makes the game not fun, and it only pushes the hardcore player base away from the Call of Duty franchise, which is not something that we should be wanting, right? Whereas back in the day, Call of Duty was a fun fun, casual online game, it's now basically a ranked playlist with no actual visible elo and no visible ranks for you to go for. David Vonderhaar did say that a ranked mode will be coming to Black Ops Cold War, so if that's the case, why in the world does skill-based matchmaking need to exist within the casual game modes? It makes no sense at all when you first look at it, but if you really dig deep and think about it, it makes sense because it makes Activision money. And you may be thinking, Nero, how does skill-based matchmaking make money? You're just out to get Activision all the time. But no, this is actually why it's there in the first place. There was a patent from Activision that was discovered a long time ago that basically said that skill-based matchmaking is a thing within Call of Duty, and it's there because it wants to protect bad players from good players, because when bad players are enjoying themselves, they're more likely to spend money on the in-game shop. The patent also references giving even easier lobbies to the people who spend a ton of money in the in-game shop, because they want the new players to actually see all the new cool microtransactions in action, and honestly, that is the most disgusting thing I have ever heard. Spend a ton of money in the shop, get easier lobbies. It's like literally paying to win in Call of Duty, but in a weird way. Activision has basically found a way for them to monetize matchmaking along with everything else in the game, and it all comes at the expense of the average to above average player. Now, going back to it, I firmly believe that Black Ops Cold War is a good game fundamentally. I think everything from the core feel to weapon balance to gunplay and even to the perk balance is good, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, you will not catch me dead playing Black Ops Cold War when it comes out without a full party. Now, between my friend group and Twitch chat, I can easily make that happen, but for the average player who doesn't have that option, it's gonna suck. If nothing changes, those players are going to be subjected to some of the sweatiest lobbies imaginable, just like they've been dealing with all year in Modern Warfare 2019. And speaking of Modern Warfare 2019, I see so many people talking about how popular it is on Twitch, right? But if you actually go and check out Modern Warfare on Twitch, like 90% of people are playing Warzone. It seems like no one actually cares about that game's multiplayer, and I have to wonder, do the Call of Duty developers even care about multiplayer, or is multiplayer kind of like a side game mode now to Warzone? I can definitely see that being the case. If they want players to actually enjoy the multiplayer and actually be engaged with the multiplayer, they have to actually make the multiplayer fun, as compared to it being a side mode that just sort of funnels people into playing Warzone. I'm really worried that with Black Ops Cold War, they're going to ruin the matchmaking experience for everybody, essentially. I mean, good players and bad. If you're a bad player only facing other bad players, it's insulting to your intelligence at that point. The game's basically saying, you know what, you suck, so you should only play against other people who suck, as compared to actually trying to improve. It's a bad system, right? It's a bad system top to bottom. And what's worse about this is, in the entire year that Modern Warfare 2019 has been out, not once has anybody at Infinity Ward or Activision even acknowledged the existence of skill-based matchmaking. Treyarch is keeping quiet as well, and they've also introduced a feature to not allow players to reverse boost within the Cold War beta. And while I do think reverse boosting is stupid, and I'm glad that people can't do it as easily, I think it's even stupider that they're not addressing the core issue with matchmaking in the first place. I truly hope that between now and when the game comes out in November, that skill-based matchmaking is removed entirely, and Call of Duty can go back to being the casual, relaxing, and fun experience that it used to be, but knowing Activision, that probably isn't going to happen. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Those are my first impressions so far of the beta. I wish I could talk more. I mean, I probably could talk more technically, but I basically covered every aspect of the game so far. We talked about weapons and weapon balance and map design and score streaks and the servers and the matchmaking and all of that. I feel like everything in the game has potential. Going back to the weapon leveling system here for a second, it's very slow right now, which may be good for the full game, but it needs to be sped up for the beta so that people can actually experience all the attachments and test things out and give feedback to the developers. That's something that should be brought up. But aside from that, I feel like the core gameplay, the core game itself right there, I think is actually good. But right now, connectivity, hit detection, the servers, and the matchmaking systems are basically holding everything back, and that's not a good thing. I feel as though score streaks will be addressed at some point in the future. They're going to continue to tweak and change them here and there. That's something that can be changed, but for right now, the big thing, again, would be the connections, the servers, the skill-based matchmaking, and things like that. That's probably the biggest problem we have with Black Ops Cold War so far, and I'm really interested to see how things are going to change between now and the end of the weekend, and then, of course, next weekend, when the beta goes live again, but this time it's going to be going up for Xbox and PC fans. It's going to be really interesting to see how things play out, but for right now, those are my initial first impressions of Black Ops Cold War in its beta stage. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, consider leaving a like. Thank you all so much for listening. Leave your thoughts and feedback down in the comments. This outro is super long, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.